Earl Grey tea. I have a nice big stack of books, so it is definitely time to get into it. Today, we're going to be discussing something that I have literally directly stolen from my local bookshop. I went to an event called A Summer of Monsters, and I have noticed that there's a lot of books out at the moment which are all about like monsters and vampires, and we're desperate for that autumn vibe, let's be honest. I'm trying really hard not to desperately cry for autumn, even though I am wearing black, but it felt like fitting for this video, so I feel like that's fine. I'm trying really hard not to be super autumnal, but it is like truly inside of me, so this is a way of trying to keep it summery, but I all I want to read about is vampires and stuff. So yeah, these are the things on my TBR list for my Summer of Monsters. I'm very excited to talk you through them. I've got a real nice mix of classics, new books, slightly older books, a little bit of everything, I think. So you're definitely going to find something for you on your list. This is all about being multifaceted, guys. So let's get right into it. The first book I want to talk about is The Lamb by Lucy Rose. I was recommended this book when I went to Edinburgh. I asked all of the different bookstores and all of the different all of the different booksellers that I met in Edinburgh, and I met a lot of different booksellers while I was in Edinburgh, about what new book they were excited about, what books that they really loved, and I bought them all, and it was a big list, let's put it that way. And The Lamb was one of those books. It's a folk tale, a horror story, a love story, and an enchantment, and it is about a mother and a daughter who have lived in the forest for as long as Margot can remember. Margot's the daughter. When Margot isn't at school, they spend quiet days together in their cottage, waiting for strangers to knock on their door. Strays, Mama calls them. Mama loves the strays. She feeds them wine, keeps them warm, then she satisfies her burning appetite by picking apart their body. I mean, I have to admit, I don't always move into the direction of horror, but lately I feel like I've been wanting to read more horror, so this was one of the picks that I picked up for that, and I think it could be a really interesting read, a bit strange. Mother-daughter relationships is one of my favourite things to read about, as you will know if you have watched any of my videos, because I really do talk about that a lot. And this is, I think, going to be a really fun book to read. I mean, it sounds grotesque, but in like a wonderful, dark, kind of shocking way, which, yeah, it sounds really good. Also, the bookseller who recommended this to me said to me, if you like books about female rage, you would like this. And I was like, absolutely sold, obviously. Okay, completely the other side of it. For my fantasy girlies who love fantasy, I have read the first in this series, but I have bought the second one as well. And it is these two by Clarissa Broadbent. So I read the Serpent and the Wings of Night. This is part of the series A Crowns of Nyaxia novel. I don't know if I said that right, but it's 3 sets of duets, I think. And this is the first duet. And I will admit, the first book was, I don't know if it was my favourite book of all time, but I read it and it was fine, and I enjoyed it. We read it for a book club actually, but everyone keeps telling me that the second and the rest of them are so much better, and I do believe that is a bit of a like it's a bit of a fantasy thing where like your first book can sometimes feel, how do I put it, like it's a lot of world building and it's a lot of like tension building. I still enjoyed the first book, so I am willing to give it a try and try the second one. But The Serpent and the Wings of Night, it's about a human girl who has to survive in a vampire world. It literally says, human or vampire, the rules of survival are the same. Never trust, never yield, and always, always guard your heart. So it's about the adopted daughter of the night-born vampire king, and she goes into this kind of like trial for vampires, where at the end you get to how do I explain, like fulfill a wish, and because she wants to be like the heir, I guess, of the Nightborn King. So yeah, it's pretty cool. I like a like weaker, should be weaker woman, but actually is really strong and independent. So that was kind of fun about it. Although some people do think this is really cringy. So I do think this is for your true fantasy girlies. If you're not a true fantasy girl, this is probably not your book. Now, I recently went to the Folio Society pop-up shop in London, where they do annually, where they sell off loads of their books, and it's at much best prices. And one of the books that I picked up, which I thought was really appropriate for this particular video, is Frankenstein by Mary Shelley. Frankenstein is one of those books that I haven't read since I was probably about 13, maybe. This is an absolutely beautiful version, and I do believe that books are made for reading, not for sitting on shelves, even when they look this pretty. So I really, really want to read it. It's got illustrations in it, which I think is really cool. Look at the cool hand on the side. I'm a big fan of this. So I don't think I need to explain what this book about is. Okay, I really want to read this because it's been, I've spoken about it with different people so many times, but I recently went to an event for one of the books that is actually on my list that I will be talking about, and she mentioned the book again. It's such a short book. It's an easy one. It's an easy one to read. It's Carmilla, the original Sapphic vampire book, and it's like a nice short one. The dark Sapphic romance that inspired Dracula. But yes, it predates Dracula, so it's older and has been rumored to be the inspiration for Dracula. So I think this would be a really, really interesting one to read. Dracula is actually not on my list, so this is a good one to add instead. And it's one of the ones I've just been wanting to read for ages. There's a couple of other vampire books, like old classic ones from that circle of writers that I would love to read. So maybe I do that as a different series at some point. But yeah, Carmilla, it's a good one to add. Now, you're probably wondering what was the event that I went to. The dust cover is off because I'm literally reading it right now. It is Bury Our Bones in the Midnight Soil by V. Schwab. V. Schwab, I have to admit, has some books that I absolutely adore, and then other books that I'm like, I'd probably give a miss. So far, I'm really, really enjoying this book. It's about, it's set over a long period of time, and it's about 3 different women, young women, who you could consider to be vampires, and it's Sapphic. I think she kept using the phrase, it's her toxic lesbian vampire book. So yeah, but the characters are very well written, but also they have real emotional backgrounds. Like, they're not just really shallow women. Even the villains aren't shallow in any way. And that is, or if anyone is shallow, it is done with intention. I do think she is a ridiculously smart person, via Schwab, so you can always tell that in her books. And yeah, big fan so far. I've already started it, so hopefully I keep enjoying it. I will let you know. And then actually this is like a bit of a, like, probably a lesser known book, but I went to an event in my hometown, in the town I live in, and this author is also from this town, and her name is Essie Fox, and she wrote this lovely little book called Dangerous, which is a Lord Byron mystery novel. It does kind of hinge towards the idea that he could be a vampire, which obviously is a long-standing rumour around Lord Byron. And Lord Byron is just such an interesting character who I adore and think is really fun to read about. So this is a book I'm really looking forward to reading, and I haven't got around to reading yet, and I'm very excited about it. She literally lives like 2 streets away from me, so I thought she deserved a shout out in my book, in my TBR, for this kind of dark monster thing. And also this is where I got the title for this video from. I did steal it from that event. She was so sweet though. I had such a lovely time meeting her and discussing the book. It was really, really lovely. And now the last one is another book that I got from my time in Edinburgh, another recommended by a bookseller, and it is Lucy Undying by Kirsten White, and it is another Dracula story. So Dracula changed her, love will transform her is the tagline, but this is an epic, seductive gothic fantasy. A vampire escaped the thrall of Dracula and embarks on her own search for self-discovery and true love, from the #1 New York best-selling author of Hyde. And it's all about Lucy Westerner, who is one of Dracula's victims, and her story. I'm enjoying this whole thing where we give voices to people who didn't have voices within the books, and, you know, discussing a lot of the things that come with that, like if those voices were there on purpose, or if weren't there on purpose, or if they weren't there due to misogyny, racism, etc. James is a really good example of it. There's a couple of different other ones. Lady Macbeth by there's just a couple that are really, really, really good at it. And I love those stories. So this is a really fun one. Again, it kind of sits in that idea of like it's a Dracula story, but it's not a Dracula story. Dracula story, but about women, seems to be a bit of a theme inside the book. This is the last of the books that I would like to talk about today, but I will be doing a review of them once I've read all of them. Very excited about reading these though, and let me know if you are going to add a little bit of monsters to your summer, and if so, if you're going to pick up any of these ones, or if there's any other books that you would add to this list. Thanks guys.